You're watching CTV News, Calgary.
The title of a report released today is damning. System broken: how public drug coverage is failing Canadians with mental illness. The report from the Mood Disorder Society of Canada finds Canadians with mental illness are waiting too long for medication, and too often they're being turned down for coverage. Dr. Atul Kullar joins me. He is an associate clinical psychiatry professor at the University of Alberta. Doctor, thank you for speaking with us today.
Thank you very much for having me here, Ian.
Now, first of all, give us an example of one drug that is used for people with mental illness and how often that drug may be turned down, it may be rejected in terms of coverage.
Yeah, so publicly it tends to be global. So giving one example would be, one of the newer, antidepressants. Let's just give an example there. And, it's either public or private coverage. And with the private coverage, usually it's covered by most private plans. But a lot of people, especially people with mental illness, don't have those plans and are reliant on public coverage or basic Blue Cross or, social assistance, and that doesn't get covered at all with the public system.
Okay, so how many people are affected by this? How many people are in that category?
Well, if you look at the category of serious mental illness, I think it's about 70 to 80%, right? And then even if you look at people who are working, a lot of people don't have health coverage and, have to buy their own health coverage. And if you have individual health coverage, most of the individual health coverages in Alberta mimic the public system. So, even though technically they are privately covered, they're still not getting a lot of these medications. So it's a lot of people.
The mental illness stats are quite alarming. You have 3 million Canadians, according to this report, who deal with depression or an anxiety disorder. There are 5% of Canadians who have been diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. I wonder if someone has PTSD and they can't get treatment or medication, what happens?
Well, they sort of fall through the cracks, to be honest with you. They don't get treated. It goes on to substance abuse. It goes on to other things. They get on long-term disability. They get on social assistance, and they don't live sort of their full life.
Of course, you deal only with patients here in Alberta. I wonder how this province compares to other provinces in this report.
Well, in this report, this province, again, was probably in the middle, still wasn't definitely one of the stars, and it is taking a long time to get it. I think one of the most damning things in this report was the other drugs for other types of illnesses, such as high blood pressure, such as heart disease, such as other things, are covered at a much higher rate than the mental illness drugs, or suggested to be as well.
I wonder, does Canada, a lot of people ask this, does Canada need a national pharmacare program to deal with this shortfall?
That's a great question. Now, jurisdictionally, that'll be quite difficult. Health is the responsibility of the provinces. It's kind of written in the BNA Act. So there'd have to be a lot of give and take to change the legislation. I'm not sure if that would solve everything, because if you look at a lot of national pharmacare programs, yes, it reduces the inequity, absolutely. It makes it consistent across the country, which it definitely is not now. But it often leads to, instead of, better buying power, they simply just don't cover anything for all Canadians. So I would be careful what you wish for with national pharmacare. Although if adjudicated properly and assessed properly, it could definitely make things equal for all Canadians, but equal is not necessarily good in this field.
Right. All right, Dr. Kullar, thank you very much for speaking with us today.
Thank you very much, Ian. Happy to be here.
And you can read the report yourself at mdsc.ca. The Mood Disorder Society of Canada is on Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube.